Boards and commissions committee hearing for the July the 28th, CPO 2020-30, an ordinance of the Gary Common Council revitalizing the City of Gary Youth Council, sponsored by Councilwoman Linda Barnes Caldwell of the 5th District. Previously, we discussed some of it and we left it in committee. So we're back tonight to try to finalize it so we can take it for a vote. At this time, does anyone have any comments, corrections, or input on what we have written right now?
I do, Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilwoman Atkins.
So I just kind of took the process that we discussed in the last committee meeting. I looked at the information that Councilman Lay provided through Ms. White. And then I also, just took notes in terms of when he was giving a commentary about the PAGE program. And then also the last committee meeting, Councilman Brewer also talked about some aspects of what he remembered from the Gary Common Council Youth Council when it was in existence. And then I just took some best practices along with the Indiana State Senate as well as the Indiana State House Senate program, PAGE program as well. So I just documented, what I felt was, best practices and thought that I could present that to the committee for consideration, because I think one of the main things from Councilman Lay's commentary that I took was like the structure, what are they going to get out of it? Who's going to teach them? Mentorship. So I think those are relevant aspects of it. And I just wanted to, if it's okay, just let you guys know, and I could send this to you all, but I just took notes. So some of the comparison things that we were missing was the structure that I just mentioned. And this is these are the notes that I have from the Gary PAGE program. So documentation in terms of the various lessons. So in one of the supplemental documents that Mr. Lay provided, there was a PDF that it just spoke to the students had to read some required lessons. So I would suggest that there's curriculum formulation. I think that that's what he mentioned in terms of partnering with Harvard to have some type of curriculum to implement, because you want the students to get something out of it, right? And then also the school credit aspect of it, that is a part of, I think, the Gary PAGE program that was initially established, as well as both the Indiana Senate as well as the Indiana House programs that might be relevant to us as well. I don't know, something. Also, the interaction with the state legislators will be probably some good benefits of the programs to implement. And then we need to identify age requirements. So the Indiana House PAGE program, their age requirements stated it was 13 years and older. The Indiana Senate PAGE program is grades 6 through 12. And I didn't see, I believe maybe the Gary PAGE program information was just high school age, because each individual who was listed on that particular document was a part of a active high school at that time.
Council, it was 11th and 12th grade, right?
For the Gary PAGE program?
Uh-huh.
I don't know, Mr. Lay.
Yes, it was 11 and 12, juniors and seniors.
11 and 12, okay. And then I also just kind of combined between those three, and then also some of the seasoned council members might know about, the NLC. So they have on their website information about starting a youth council, and they have some best practices related to youth engagement structure. They had a toolkit that's on the site that we could probably use if you wanted to, Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell, to create, the additional structure that you were looking for. So it talked about the curriculum, branches of government, legislative dive-in, key statute and reviews of that, the process of passing a bill, an ordinance at all levels of government, local, state, and federal, leadership training, how to present, Robert's Rules of Order. Also related to structure was the meeting frequency, the location of the meetings, mentorship, identifying what that looks like. Who are the mentors? What are their interaction with the participants? Local civic engagement. Is there a requirement to attend a certain number of council meetings or a certain number of commission meetings? And then the timeline, we kind of talked about that. Does the program start in January of every year? What is the term limits? Is it, for 2 years, et cetera? Identify the number of participants. We had conversation about that in the past. Do we want how many do we want, and the clarity on how they're appointed? So this document that's on the NLC provides some insight on those types of things. It also has like application structure for parental consent that is needed. There's an application that you can use as a template. And some of the requirements on the application speaks to like the GPA, if we have a GPA requirement. If there's some type of community service that we want the applicants to have as a part of their application requirements. A letter, of course, expressing interest in civic government. And then also there was the application requirement for, a form for photo release. So in the packet that Mr. Lay provided to us as well, it was like, different photos that the students take. So you want to make sure that you have consent to utilize those as you market the program going forward. And then enrollment, like the targeted timeline, the close dates, the open dates in terms of when you're going to accept the applications. And then it just talked about like defining the objective and mission to promote civic engagement and inspire the next generation of civic leaders. And then you want to make sure that your curriculum speaks to the youth council having a conduit for providing the youth voice to city leadership, and also, again, to communicate community service and foster an understanding on how municipal government works. And so then it was like some on the NLC, in the document that they have all types of like 83% of youth councils across municipalities look like this. So just wanted to give you guys that to ponder on. And I can send it to you, Councilwoman, just for the committee. I'm not on the committee, but it was interesting. So I just took the time to kind of put that together.
Okay. Well, Councilman Brewer, a lot of that sounded like what the youth council that we had the last few years sounded like a lot of them. So did you get an opportunity to get anything from your group?
There's no supporting documents that was that we have found thus far, because everything was housed at 839, and there was a lot of stuff left there at 839 because they just couldn't bring everything. But before that, we had went through probably 2 directors since then, once the youth council dissolved pretty much. So trying to find those documents. Only thing, I have reached out to 2 of the formal youth council representatives, pretty much that work to help put it together. And I should get some information back from them. But I think what Councilwoman Atkins has presented tonight is a good point where we need to start at, definitely. Just go back just a little bit. This was brought to me by young people that were brought, and they brought this to me about forming a youth council at that time because they felt there was a disconnect from elected officials and the youth and the voice of the youth. And so it was mirrored after the city council, where it mirrored after our local government, period. And it was basically giving them an entryway on how we operate, and for that they can get a better interest in it, because coming from the youth, no one wanted to serve in these roles because, they said, well, no, just older people serving in the role, young people were just leaving, going away. So we wanted to strike their interest in their city government, what was going on. But I think what we have heard from Councilwoman Atkins, Mr. Lay has laid out a tremendous program, a great program. I think it's something that we should be able to put together, something where our young people can really be proud and represent this community well.
Madam Chairperson,
Yes, sir.
what I think we should have is certainly, I've stated my position. I think you should go forward with the program, and what Councilwoman Atkins said is pretty much is completed. Some things are not accurate, but I understand why it's not. It's the document she was sent. So I would suggest you proceed with what has already been done. I'm sure the 7 or 8 of you can put it together as part of the Youth Foundation and get it out, get it out of the way. I certainly will continue with what I'm doing. It's all the way up the line. There are some probably significant differences between what I did in 1998 and your youth council. And that's what the documents were. They were from your youth council. What I'm doing now is far beyond what I did in 98. In other words, on August the 4th, I certainly will give you a complete layout verbally. By August the 7th, I will give you a written syllabus of the particular thing I'm talking about. There are numerous people will enact, but I think you should proceed with your youth council. I really do. People of color need a lot of help. We really do, because they're being miseducated, and they're going to even be further miseducated based upon this coronavirus. They're going to be, of course, Zoom studying is going to go on. Unfortunately, they are not going to get much help at home. If you look at the school system now, when I was in school, we had study hours. Now they spend all of this time in school, and probably by the time they leave, they're not prepared to do additional study. What I'm talking about, you would never see them in terms of, they're not pages. What I'm also doing is something else that I'm not sure the council should do. The highest risk group currently, and I've read some articles, I'll be sure to send you articles, but I knew before I read the article, is the African-American male. It's a very high risk of going either to jail or getting killed. And so I'm only looking at the male, which in some ways violate something I believe in. Your program is going to be multi-gender, I would assume. So why not proceed with that? Whatever number you're handling or will handle will just simply be additional. I'm doing a pilot program, and it's all over the place. I mean, we've ordered books. What Councilwoman Ty Atkins mentioned, I will teach. You probably will be required, as far as I can tell, in order to get them today some type of credit from at the state level. You may have to have a certified teacher, or a teacher that's at least on emergency license. I do, since I was at the last committee meeting, I have contact with Indiana University, the dean of the School of Education. I have proceeded forward. Oddly enough, the people tonight were complaining. I had to send my resume forward to, matter of fact, I think the principal, Thea Bowman, has it, as well as the principal at Westside Academy. And it's several other people for me to even to proceed to get the emergency license. And that has not been resolved. I've been dealing with elected officials also. I'm waiting now on confirmation from the governor, as well as Pete Viskowski, but all of the local political people, we're talking about small seminars. So I would suggest that you proceed with what Councilwoman Atkins talked about. Proceed with we need as many people working on this as possible, rather than, and again, I think Councilwoman Caldwell misunderstood that I was not being sent to change anything. Councilman Godman had said jokingly that, well, why don't you do it? So again, I think here, everyone can be the mentor and the teaching, all of that can go on. And so I would suggest that you have a good framework from what you've done in the past. And Councilwoman Atkins, I think seems to have a good grasp whether she's on the committee or not. Oddly enough, I'm not on the committee either. So it was something that I just simply had an interest in, and it will take a tremendous amount of time to do. I mean, I probably do that almost every day. That's what I work on. So I think we both can do the same thing, going in two different directions and probably arrive at the same end. That's where it is now, because I can't dove my program back into the council. I did not seek council funding, and I certainly didn't seek it to be against me, but I didn't seek it to do anything. And I think I'm well along the way.
Councilman Lay, so your program is only going to be towards the males?
Yes, you can. I don't think you can do that as a council. Yes, that's it.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I'm going, and the way that they're selected is selected by the principals of the 4 schools. All I can do is would be to interview them and let their parents interview me at the same time. In other words, explain exactly what we're talking about doing. One of the reasons I also, other than the high risk group, but pretty predominantly what's in my group, people are males. So part of it is that these people, whoever they are will be male. They will call these individuals or have contact. I would not want to be part of anything where junior and senior females are calling men. I don't think their family would be in agreement to that either. And the smallest thing could be misunderstood. Someone says something innocently that's misunderstood. So that was the second reason I decided to go with the males. I don't think that would be a good position even for the city council to take. I think you have to use both genders. That's why I say I'm sort of violating my own rule, because I'm looking at them as the high risk, and I've been spending time, just simply looking at that. So I think both programs should go on myself.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
There's 9 of us. I guess the question I want to ask is, do we think now is a good time, given all that's going on with COVID, do we have the resources to really do a youth council? I mean, who's going to take the lead on that? I just want to be realistic. If we create this, who's going to operationalize it?
Well, right now, we don't have a director of the youth council, right?
Right.
You're talking of the youth services or the youth council?
Do we have a director?
We don't have a director yet at Research Bureau, no.
Well, in the past, that's who's been working with them.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, if we get the ordinance together, when we get a director and children that are willing to participate, we'll be ready. I wish that we could combine the two, Councilman Lay and Councilwoman Atkins plans together.
I'll give you a written.
We talked about this as a group, and the plan was for us to look at the best practices of everything that was presented. This is not Councilwoman Atkins. I just put everything together.
You did a wonderful job. You did a wonderful job.
That's all I did. That's what we said we were going to do as a group. We were going to bring everything together, all 3 elements, and try to figure out the best way to move forward. And that game plan just went by the wayside.
No. Only one person is left to 9. And then one, they used to say one monkey don't stop the show. What I will do is give you a written syllabus if that'll help you with mine. I will probably have that ready because I'm going to submit it to the state probably August the 7th. I pretty much know what it is. It's being written and people are pretty much in place. I think Mr. Godwin raises a question. It wouldn't matter. My program would requires a tremendous amount of contact hours. I reduced it today, personally. It's small seminars, it's teaching. So you may not want to do this. I'm teaching Open Door. I'm buying books on parliamentary procedure, which the council has that. But so much, my book is going to be much simpler than I'm purchasing. So again, I don't have any problem giving you my syllabus. I have no problem stating publicly exactly what I'm trying to do. I can do that at the August 4th meeting, say exactly. Again, I think the 2 programs, like Section 2, I want to change it. The majority don't. So the same thing here. If I think you should have and go forward what you've already dealt with. There was some misunderstanding, and certainly I don't think I owe an apology for it because I didn't see it coming. And but I think it benefited what I'm trying to do. And that is I can take these 12, it's a pilot project. Once, I do the 12, someone may pick it, we're going to record everything. Someone else may pick it up and try to take it further. I just think we're going to have to think of how we're going to educate our young people differently than we've been doing, or the school system's been doing.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I think, so Mr. Councilman Lay, your organization, will it be a 501c3?
Yes, but what we're going to do is the funding, there is a 501c3 I'm combined with, but I may offer the 501c3 may be payments to Trinity Church. I've dealt with Pastor Gardner. He's part of it. We're developing a religious element as part of the group, which is not.
So you making it hard for us to support it now. Not because I don't support religion, but if we can't make contributions to churches.
No, I'm not. I don't want any council money. No council money. In other words, at this point, I have a tremendous amount of, financial support as people individually. I'm setting it up so they get taxed. No, I don't want any. I don't know what I would do with it. In other words, today I would have made sports good to get cardigan sweaters and all of that to put them in the group. Of course, I don't know the size of the people yet, but no. Again, I'm asking you to proceed with the program you had in mind before I brought it up. So that's what I'm asking. No, I don't want money.
So, Mr. Lay, are you bringing your ordinance? You're not bringing an ordinance to the council?
No.
Okay.
I will not bring an ordinance. I will not. I may deal with the mayor on something, but no, I'm not going to bring the ordinance whatsoever. I basically will placate universities and the State Board of Education. Whatever they require me to do, I'm willing to do. Like I said, at the state level, they said, well, you may need a license, either a substitute license or an emergency license. I think in terms of what I'm talking about, teaching the course at the state level is 1536, but it's incomplete because it does not deal with elected school boards, nor does it deal with the federal government. I will do both. I will teach them both. I will buy books for both. So no, I won't seek any No, any ordinances, anything like that.
I want to go back to my question, Madam Chair.
Mhm.
You know, I guess if we're saying it's going to be I don't know what we're saying exactly. I think the ordinance has the mayor appointing people, various parties. I know at one point there was discussion about it being sort of completely council driven. And if that's the case, I don't know if we can count on whoever the Youth Services Bureau person is to do this, or is it something that we should be doing? And I just don't know, given all that's going on. I mean, I support the concept, but I just don't know if we have the capacity to really do it, especially given all that's going on. I mean, who's going to take the lead on this? I mean, most of us got a lot going on, just, with city business. And so we really, there's an old saying, when everybody's in charge, nobody's in charge. So there needs to be somebody who's going to own it. Now, what I would hope that we might be able to do, just like we have the Commission on Black Males, I don't think we give them financial support. I don't think we do.
The mayor gives, it's something that comes out of the budget for Mr. Muhammad.
Okay, so we can, as a city, give something to something that's only for Black men. It's sort of similar to the president's Becoming a Man initiative,
Right.
President Obama's Becoming a Man initiative. There's another name for it. I can't think of it right now. But I know he had a big initiative around Black and Latino boys. So I think if we wanted to, we could support something like what Councilman Lay is doing. I know he doesn't want any money.
No,
But I think that I hope that maybe we can find some kind of compromise whereby what he is doing, we can be associated with it and supportive of it, because I don't think we have the resources as a city and as a council to have duplicative efforts. I mean, I don't think it makes sense for Councilman Lay he can obviously do whatever he wants to as a private citizen, but if he's already doing something that would enhance youth in the city or help us achieve basically what this ordinance is trying to do, I don't know if we want to have us trying to do something and he's doing something when we could just simply try to integrate or support what he's doing, even if it's philosophically supporting it. Since we don't have the infrastructure to do it, that's all I would just want to suggest. But we can't make him take our support, but I wish we could merge this.
I mean, if you guys want to pass a resolution saying that you support the idea, in other words, I know Indiana University is going to give the young people a certificate. I certainly believe the governor will give them one. If you complete the program, not only that, I'm going to, get class rings and things of that nature. Will give you.
I want to be in the program.
You get a sweater, a class,
Yeah.
in the paper, pictures, meeting the governor.
And matter of fact, that's it. These young people, and again, I don't know who they are, but the chances are the governor is considering it. They're trying to work out his schedule. I said, if you want to, you can make it after the first year, but you got to win to do it. If you don't win, you can't do it. We're going to have a fairly good police element. We're going to have a fire element. Again, I certainly would welcome, if you guys resolution saying I support it. Now, this is not the first time that I've attempted to do something where I didn't seek council money. And that, you remember, the pins that you wear. Right now, Gloria Slade paid for these pins. In other words, I may be able to recoup the funds from the spectacle, but once we didn't do the banquet, it stopped everything. And so that's not the first time. Matter of fact, when I asked my friend and buddy for money, he told me he didn't have any. So I'm not gonna give you his name, but RB told me he didn't have no money. So I proceeded and invested my own money in order to put on the, so this isn't new. It's something that I have an interest in doing. I had it in '98, and I left everything in file for some reason. Most of what I left is not there now. So, so no, it's not that I don't like, but if you accept reason your parents could tell you what to do wasn't so much your birth, they fed you every day and housed you. So when you didn't want to take their advice, you had to leave the house. So in this case, I don't, if I needed the funding, I'm not sure you would, I could get it, but I mean, we go through, I looked at this promotional committee, what I think Mr. Godwin is saying, I know you're really going to have to put in a lot of time now. He's right about that. Whoever handles the operation of it, it's going to be a lot of time. The only thing that was different, I didn't understand why all of these different elements were getting your pages. That's what I was talking about. You certainly could do small seminars by sending them to these various places, but I didn't see why they going to get pages. The mayor has agreed to purchase 2 sweaters, and also to be a resource person. That resource, he would basically, they would meet him over Zoom along with other elected officials. I would have no problem if somebody from the council wanted to do it, but I knew you were going to be doing your own program. So, I was going to let you, proceed with that as opposed to bother you in any kind of way. That's all. I hope this makes sense, that I was of the impression there would be 2 distinct things being done. And one would be this youth service group who would coordinate, and whatever you did in the past, I would assume you would do it currently. This is altogether different what I'm talking about. It's not even close to what I did in '98, let alone I suspect what you've done. It's not even close to it. So that's all I'm suggesting.
Well, the thing is, we haven't done anything. I wasn't a part of the Youth Service Bureau. I saw them when they came to our meetings. I saw them when they went to Washington with us on a conference. And occasionally they, like I said, they came to our meetings. So Councilman Brewer had more input with them.
Well, that may be a person to head it up, at least with the help of 7 other people. And yeah, I mean, that you may have identified. And Mr. Godwin, since he's laughing at it, put him on there. And that Miss Atkinson, she's the only one that wrote down stuff. And she put that in, and I suspect it will be quite successful. I mean, plus it's going to be a lot of fun. It really will be a lot of fun. Basically, no matter what I do, I like to deal with young people. I really do. I always have. Even my top politics is geared toward young people, which sometimes people don't understand it, but it's geared that way.
You're gonna have to get some sweaters too. Some sweaters and
I
asked nothing, huh?
No. I asked the mayor. No, wait a minute. I asked the mayor to buy sweaters. Arlene Colvin is buying one. Paul is buying one. Some of these people are straight out volunteering to do that.
So you got sponsorship for each.
Oliver Gilliam, Charlie Brown, Kyle Allen. In other words, they are going to provide the dollars. You remember I mentioned, and I hope I don't trap him into giving you guys money for your program. I called attorney Renzo Williams to get him to buy a sweater, and he immediately said, "Oh no!" He said, "Well, I'll give you $500." and because we are close, and he's buying all the books. So there's no, when I talked to John Keeler from Spectacle, as he usually say, you brought me to one dance, I'll come to another dance with you, and I'll stand by if you need help. Currently, I don't need any help. I negotiated, I can't remember his last name, Richard, who was the owner of Maine Sporting Good. I negotiated things over there today concerning those sweaters. Dr. Cheryl Pruitt is helping me put together the syllabus, the course outline, and stuff of that nature. So now when you say, can I go get it? The 8 of you certainly have greater powers to solicit sweaters and things, but most of mine was people heard about it and just simply volunteered. They don't even care about tax exemption. Oh, I called my pastor, Reverend Gardner, to ask him where did he get the sweaters for the children in the church. As you rise, he said, oh, I get them from Maine Sporting Goods. I used to go to Maine for the Martin Luther King breakfast. And he said, oh, by the way, if you get 9, I'll buy 2, unsolicited. So without really much work on my part, I called a couple of people in this whole process. Oh, Earl Harris is going to buy one. Norman Bailey is going to buy one. Calvin Bankhead is going to buy one. I'm going to buy one if necessary. That's how it was done. I mean, people that I knew, I went forward and said, listen. And then I had these volunteers, like I say, Arlene and Trent McCain said he buy one. He's going to discuss with these young people fraternities, Kappa. In this case, this is Kappa. So that's how you do it. So
Okay.
I didn't get it from no single source.
So, Madam Chair, it looks like, Mr. Lay has his program, will be marketing his program on his own. So I guess you just need to make a, decision how you want to move forward. If you want to try to formulate more structure and then wait until later on to start, or how you feel, what you want to do.
Long as the ordinance is on the books, it can happen now, it can happen later. If we get someone who, like the group that's doing the CBA, we get someone that's interested in doing the youth council, they already have the structure laid out.
Do we want to have all the mayor and the judge involved? What was the thought on that?
I was still at how many we were gonna have, 6, 9, 12, and if it's just gonna be with the council, that's fine. So what do you?
If the mayor is not interested, I mean,
Well,
is that
Well,
what was,
the mayor is interested in Councilman Lay's project.
okay.
No, he bought sweaters. He has no interest in my project. So I think that's doing an injustice, because you would then say, well, this other person had an interest. It's not the lack of interest. I asked him.
You have his support, yeah.
Yeah, I asked people. I mean, so he said he would buy 2 sweaters, and I would have asked him if he had said no. I still would have used him as a person that they could interview. He's an elected official. But no,
Okay.
I don't think, I'm not asking him to choose this project over it. That's really unfair to him to say that. Or any of them.
well,
I even said, I hope I don't get Mr. Williams to put up $500 for the council program, because he did it out of wanting to help me with the youngsters. I don't get paid, anything of that nature.
Councilman Brewer?
well, I was just going to say, when you spoke about the mayor not being involved in it, there will be other mayors that will come. There'll be other judges, other clerks. And I think what we should do in the language when they say shall, we should put, or say may, we should put shall in those spots there where it gives them the option to participate. But if not, we could still move beyond that scope and we're just not stuck there trying to force someone to participate in it. But it was basically to give the young people, as I stated earlier, to get a broader scope what we do as local elected officials. I understand Ms. Lay is on a different scope, but we were trying to get them more involved what takes place locally here, to get them more involved locally. And to get us as elected officials to have some type of dialogue with young people, because there's a great disconnect, whether we believe it or not, with the young people and us as older people and as elected officials inside our city. So it started off with just the council. We eventually branched off where we had some other adults that came on to help supervise the program, and then eventually went over to the Youth Service Bureau. So that's how it ended up at the Youth Service Bureau. But we did have volunteer that stepped up to help out with the Youth Council, and then eventually went full circle all the way over to the Youth Service Bureau.
Okay. So how many members are we looking at having?
I would say keep the 9.
9? Okay. We appoint all of them, or what are we doing?
Well, I believe the council should have the first 3. The first 6 should be, and then the other 3 should go to those other departments that I outlined earlier. It should go to them. If they opt out, the council would take those appointments and make the appointments themselves.
Mayor, clerk, and judge?
Yeah. Now this is just since that's the way we formulated last time, that's why I want keeping it that way. But if someone else feel different, we're council and we work that way.
Okay, so we get the paperwork together, we pass the ordinance, and
But I think, as Councilwoman Atkins said, I think we need to make sure that structure is in place. That's very important now, because right now we don't have anyone that's leading the youth council. We don't even have a director over a youth service bureau where we can even appoint them to. So I believe we need to make sure that we put the structure in place. So if we don't have it all together tonight, I think we still have time where we can work on this.
yes, work on the ordinance and the structure and then present it. And when Councilman Godwin, we get someone that's interested, after maybe even boards and commissions can appoint someone
Mm-hmm.
who's interested in leading the youth. And then again, I don't know.
Well, all appointments still go through boards and commission for the final appointments.
Yes. Okay.
Madam Chairperson,
Yes, sir.
you just made an absolute good suggestion. What you would do is to publicize for people to do what you need done, and formulate a committee to do that. In other words, you would advertise that you want people to assist in coordinating. That would cover what Mr. Godwin says, the deficiency. And there, if you put them under the council like that, you probably could use your funds, or at least get it cleared that you could use your funds for such a program. And you simply would just publish. I don't know that you got 3 people and and I'm one of these people that like to see some kind of resume. They would apply, give a resume, you would interview them, and then make the decision. And I believe so that would take care of any problem. That would give you the persons to do it, and also I think you could fund them. You certainly could write it in your budget and fund that group. So that covers everything, I think.
All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? No? All right, well, that concludes the boards and commissions meeting for July the 27th. Thank you all.
28th, 28th.
Sorry, the 28th. All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you. You all have a good night.
Okay, good night. Be safe.
All right.